So, I'm back. I've been quite busy between studying for my exam and being sick. I also have been going into work in person starting yesterday and today. I had to pay a pretty penny to uh, get several parts of my car worked on. In fact, I thought I would just read off of that. Let me just. Okay. Let me start here. So to quote my mechanic, um, there was there were issues with my car outside of the damage that was hit. The engine was I had noticed it was running terribly, and I'd actually taken it to them for a free scan, and they told me it was more or less fine 2 months ago. So when I came back this time and they scanned it, they went, "Oh no, there is definitely something wrong," and that came in the form of, well, needing new O-rings, new seals, installed a new complete GM intake manifold assembly, cleaned off all mating surfaces of the engine. Just a whole lot. A whole lot. They installed a new upper valve cover with a breather back in place, new valve cover gasket sets, new O-rings, new inner valve, baffle, new gaskets, tube seals. Man, I like just complete replacement of the intake valve. And even with all that done, they're still looking at maybe going back and looking at the oxygen port, which they don't have 100% confidence in. So it was bad. I mean, my engine, it turned out, was only firing on 2 of 4 cylinders, and there were catalytic converters misfire errors showing up when it was just sitting there, and it was stalling out at stop signs. So yeah, it was not good. And you might be asking, you still took this on the trip when you knew you had all the problems? And the answer was, yeah, I did. Um, I knew I had an issue, but and I knew I had an issue for months. I should have taken it to a second mechanic for a second opinion way earlier than the trip, but man, I just I just find it so hard to find the excuse or find the time to do this. I don't like missing work, not because I particularly overwhelmingly love the thing I do right now, but because I don't want to look like a straggler. It's not even a case of PTO. I have theoretically unlimited PTO. Really, it's manager approval, and my manager knows how hard I work, so he doesn't really have any problems with me taking off. In fact, prior to May of this year, I've never gone on a vacation in the 2 years I've worked there. I took 4 days in May, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, and then I took 2 days, Thursday and Friday. So I've taken 6 vacation days, really, the entire time I've worked there, outside of the holiday season where I usually do a couple. But I know a lot of people who have taken, I mean, usually minimum, you think 2 weeks of vacation a year, like pure, not counting sick days or anything like that, but like 2 weeks PTO. But I haven't, I, with the way I shift around my hours, I definitely have not hitting that, I always seem to make up work on the back end. I mean, I just got off of a call with Beijing just a couple minutes ago, so it's it's an issue, I guess. I think I may have difficulties balancing my work and life. I mean, I knew I had those difficulties for a while. This may now end up being a longer vlog now that I'm getting into this rant, but when I was going to school at the Milwaukee School of Engineering, I took an independent study on microwave circuits and specifically microwave filters. And it really just got into microstrip filters, and there was a lot of HFSS design in the independent study that happened at the end. But that's besides the point. The person who I studied under, Dr. Holland at the Milwaukee School of Engineering, he and I had a conversation one day, and it was about, really, he told me, be careful how much you're putting in to the work you do. And this was just when I was still back in school, because he was like, some people, he gave me the, some people live to work, and some people, like, their work is their life, or they work to live. And I had really no concept of that, even being 22 years old when I was studying under him. And at 24, it's still something I really don't feel like I have a good concept of. I just tend to overburden myself so much with small things here and there. I mean, there were several of the worst times I've ever had in my life, and specifically at MSOE, where I was truly miserable, was times where I had overcommitted myself to multiple jobs at once and multiple roles, whether that be extracurricular or otherwise in my studies, and just felt completely alone. And I didn't even recognize really how alone I was, and how much of that loneliness was my fault at the time, because I just felt like it was my place in life to fight, to struggle, to put my all into, to put, honestly, beyond my all into something. And so I went, and man, I was just suffering. I mean, when I would talk at jobs I worked at about the university, it came off as I really just hated the university, and I really didn't. I just hated what I was doing to myself, and I was unable to really realize for the longest time that I was doing it to myself. And eventually, my junior year, I completely collapsed, and I realized I was doing it to myself. And then I cut a whole lot of things from my plate in terms of extracurriculars and volunteering and things of that sort. And I started dating Teresa, and decided I was just going to pour everything into Teresa and love her the best I could, and focus on my own social stability over all else. But, like, even then, slowly, as over time, I started bleeding in more and more of that burden back onto myself, particularly through academics and independent studies and research studies, which ended up taking me to Italy. And it's something I still really struggle with. Um, I'm just I think the word that most people would use it would be workaholic or something of that sort, but I really just need to get a better control of how much of myself I am trying to commit to certain fights and what fights I really need to battle or not. Well, this went on for longer than I expected, so I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Hopefully, this cough is gone by then.